Welcome to a Songwriter Trysts, and today we have a very special friend that I met just last week, actually, Baba Kuboye. Did I say it right?
Yes, you said it perfectly right.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, doing, Ray?
I'm good. So glad to have you on the show. I like to start by getting you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are and where you come from.
Sure, sure. So, hey everyone, my name is Baba Kuboye. I'm an Afrobeat artist, singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist. My name is from Nigeria. I'm born and bred from Lagos, Nigeria, in West Africa. I live in Dallas now. I met Ray 2 weeks ago in Oklahoma, but also last year as well.
Yeah.
But yes, that's who I am and where I'm from.
When you start to go to the same events as a lot of people, you do start to feel familiar, but we don't often get time in those big events to really sit down and get to know who we're speaking to. How did you end
Yes.
up from Nigeria in Dallas? Like, when did that happen?
Ooh. So that's a good question. So I've lived all over the world, to be honest with you. I lived in the UK before, in a previous life, before I went full time into music. I studied engineering, electrical engineering, my first
Wow.
degree.
Yeah.
My master's is in mobile communications. So I was born in Nigeria, went to the UK for university, and came to the US for love, actually, about
Oh,
12 years ago now, 13 years ago now.
yeah, wow.
2013 when I moved to the US. So I've been here ever since.
Okay, married, children, and
Yes,
music. I remember we were
yes.
chatting and we had a very similar timeline as around that type of married, children. I didn't do engineering though, I did medical science, but I feel like it's a similar path of education,
Yeah,
then
yeah.
love, then passion.
Yeah, yeah.
And some
Discipline,
kids
but
in the
that
middle.
discipline that help, yeah, helps the way we think today. So true, same path, similar to
Yeah.
yours. And you've
So
been back to the UK.
I married someone from the UK, but I made him come to
Yes.
Australia. I didn't make him. We actually
Mhm.
met in Australia, but it's a nice lifestyle here as well. But we do go back there as much as we can, but it is hard, as it's hard to travel with kids. Probably
Yeah.
not. I think you've got more direct flights from Dallas to the rest of the world than we have, but
Probably you are much further away, not just a day and a half distance
yeah,
as well. So yes. Mhm.
exactly, exactly. Okay, so you did engineering. Was that a passion of yours? What was the plan behind engineering and when did music start for you?
So music started for me. I'll answer the second question first. Music started for me from the very beginning. My parents were Afro jazz musicians,
Oh, wow.
both in Nigeria. My mom was born in the UK, but moved back to Nigeria for love. And she, like you and me,
Mm,
and I guess maybe in the setting of Nigerian parents, you're told to get a degree
mm.
and do something else afterwards. You can run around naked, as they say, literally. But
Get a real job.
get a degree, get a real job. And that's where the doubt was first cast in terms of doing music.
Yeah.
And there were musicians as well. My mom was a
Mm,
prolific singer. She passed away about 29 years ago.
I'm so
My dad
sorry.
was a bass player. No worries, thank you. And my house was a nightclub. In Nigeria in those days, the courtyard in front was turned into a stage with chairs. They did put some kind of curtains to block the house behind, but behind the
Wow.
stage was a nightclub. So it was the spot for live music back in the 80s and 90s. And some of the most renowned artists in Nigeria would come and jam or sing and play and promote
I
because
love that.
that was the scene back then. So that was what got me into music. But following the blueprint of my parents, my mom studied dentistry in Sheffield actually,
Oh,
and my dad did engineering in Manchester in the UK. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do,
yeah.
but engineering was like, okay, I'll try that out.
Yeah.
And the great thing about that was with engineering, it's iterative. There's a discipline in thinking and logic, but there's also frequency, which is very similar to music. Well,
Mm,
which is the fundamentals of music, if you think of the
mm,
physics side of it.
yeah.
So it makes me think of music in terms of patterns, in
Mm,
terms of waveforms, sometimes, but also the creative part
mm.
of emotion, messaging, and performing. So that's how I've been able to combine positively that experience with doing engineering with the passion of doing music now.
I love that. So you're kind of infrastructure and engineering music that is for the soul in a different way. And I love that. I used to say that my medical degree kind of just gives me a way of creating music that's meant to be like surgery for the soul instead of like
I like.
they're tenuous connections, but they do relate, especially if you are good at maths. Okay, so your family was very musical, but it wasn't like a career path. Music was like a side thing. I totally relate to that. When was the first thing for you when you were like, oh, I want to play music? Do you even remember when you first went this is something that I really love?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
As a child, it's maybe when I got older that I realized the economy of music and a career outside that. Where when I saw them practice, rehearse on stage, and some of the most popular artists in the country at the time come and play and perform, I always wanted to. I grew up to the likes of Michael Jackson, Tevin
Yeah.
Campbell. I guess they're very big in West Africa in those days, and I saw them as kids. So
Yeah.
I thought, if they can do it, I can too. And I got a stage right outside my front door. So I've always wanted to, but the folks said, you know what, do as we say, not as we do. We've done this now, it's a passion. Before we got here, we did this. So
Okay.
just to help, do
Yeah.
this first. And I said, sure, okay. So I did that.
All right. So
Mm.
so while you did your degree, you still were learning instruments, but you also were like getting your job as your parents were encouraging you to do.
Yeah, so even the instrument started when I was still maybe elementary because they got the musicians in their band to teach us on the side. So trained from earlier on, but not to actively, and I would perform with them
Mm.
actually
Oh,
when
wow.
school allowed. Yes,
Okay.
and unfortunately or unfortunately, sometimes we'll have events during the school week which can relate to you know you got kids. But I was used to sleeping through the noise,
Mm.
having a little crowd around me. So yes, been happy to perform from a very early age. And for me, in all earnest,
Yeah.
I was putting out my own music to answer your question, probably in my last year of university
Oh,
or
wow.
college, as they say in the USA. I was
Yeah.
always writing, I was always recording, I was on their albums,
Yeah.
but I started experimenting with my own sound and style as university. So I said, I'm going to get the degree. And when I
Yeah.
finish, I'll put out
Yeah.
my first album. And that's what I did there.
Wow. Okay, so you got to the end of your degree or near the end of it. And what was was there a turning point or realization for you that like, yeah, okay, I've got the job, but no, I really want to follow my passion. What happened? Was there someone or something that happened that kind of helped you take that big leap of faith?
So the big leap of faith didn't really come till about 4 or 5 years ago. And I got my first degree almost 20 years ago now. I went
Okay.
back for a second degree because one degree is not enough from
No,
where I'm
yeah.
from in Nigeria. You need to specialize. So I was always doing music and then I'll be doing my studying or my work. And I would see if the music had taken off the way I wanted it to, then I would have definitely left it. But
Okay.
honestly, as well, because I didn't put that conviction and energy into it, it was almost like testing the waters as opposed to going with confidence and faith and conviction.
Okay.
So I realized about 5 years ago during the pandemic that I think I've crossed all the boxes for those I owe any responsibility obligation to.
Uh-huh.
And I've done engineering, I've got a degree, run a successful business as a consultant. I have my own company. And I said, now it's time for me to do what I want to do because I
Mm.
don't enjoy doing the consulting as much anymore. I love writing, I love singing, I love performing. It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
And more, I realize it's more of a purpose actually. So I didn't want to be behind a desk anymore, rather be on stage
That's totally
and
fair. I
in
think a lot of
studio.
people
So
during COVID had that moment of reflection of
yeah.
what am I doing with my life and why? Because life is short, and there was a lot of death around that time as well. And when there is,
Yes.
that does, when someone gets sick or unwell and people's mortality is questioned, it raises really big questions that sometimes we need to ask ourselves. And it sounds like you had one of those moments as well. Tell me about your songwriting process. When did you first start writing songs? Did that also come when you were really young, or you said it was a very therapeutic process? Tell us about that.
Ooh, that started young. I really was in the beginning imitating, singing my favorite songs. The Michael Jacksons, the Tevin Campbells, the rap, reggae songs, high life, Afrobeat, Afro jazz at the time. I started writing when I listened to Tupac for the first time. That was the first rap
Wow.
album I ever listened to,
Yeah.
and I was a teenager. And I was like, wow, he's telling a story. Now, I honestly thought it was a persona for music, for a career. I didn't
Mm,
realize that's how he lived, or that's how artists do. They really tell their story.
mm.
So I started writing. I would rap along to instrumentals. I didn't feel as strong or confident in my singing voice then. I wasn't as trained. I didn't focus on that. So I decided to do more spoken word, more storytelling. And I was very good at speaking in front of people.
Okay.
So that came across. I did theater as well at one
Oh,
point.
wow.
So that came across easy. This is still an elementary, middle school era.
Yeah.
So, but I realized that I could speak and articulate. I said, okay, let me start with rapping. So I started writing from about 12 or 13. And I put my first official stuff on record when I was in the UK at university, because then I was away from the folks. I had a bit of freedom and I could do what I want. So I started writing and rapping over. In those days, CDs would have maybe instrumentals at the after the 10, 12 track album of the same songs, if they were the
Yeah.
popular song. So I'll take those and then
The
write my own
karaoke
stuff on it.
version.
Yes,
Yeah.
maybe that too.
Yeah.
And then write my own chorus, get some people to sing it. So take that song and make it my own.
That's
And
so
then
cool.
that gradually went from that to creating my own music. And now everything is done totally in-house. I use
Wow.
computer software to program, create, simulate the music,
Yeah.
and then take it to the band if I want to go for a live band feel, get musicians
Yeah.
in to do that. But music has changed in a sense. Some people like the live sound, some people like that repetitive programming, computer energy. I'm glad I can do both
Yeah.
with my
And
music.
it's entirely what you, as the creative songwriter, I think for me, you have to be the one that makes that choice. You get
Yes.
to make all the, it's like painting a picture. You have to pick the colors that you're going to paint with, and whether it comes with live or whatever you're using, they're your colors. And I think that's
Yeah.
beautiful because everything means something, even if you don't realize it. I think that's, for me, I've realized with songwriting, the more confident you get in your decisions, the more pure and
Yes.
authentic your music gets. Okay, so was there a moment, can you tell me about your first song, a moment where you felt like that was you? And maybe it wasn't a massive hit or anything, but you were really excited about it because you felt like you'd cracked something with your artistry through songwriting.
Oh, yes. My very first album, I was very proud of it, was back in 2005. Then my name was just Baba, not the Kuboye on the end.
Okay.
And I realized I added the name at the end for two reasons. There were lots of Babas out there. If you are searching on
Yeah.
streaming platforms now, there were not many streaming platforms then. But that
Mm.
first album got me thinking throughout my college what I wanted to rap about, what I wanted to sing about, and just expressing myself. That was very invigorating. It was great to do and definitely proud of that. And ever since, I did take a break after that because I was expecting fireworks in
Yeah.
terms of the release. And when that didn't happen, I said, okay, let me focus on other things. Let me get my act together with life and surviving. And then I realized that with music, and many independents would get this. I thought initially writing a song, putting out there organically, it would grow. And then you
Mm.
become the next thing, and you can then take off from there.
Yeah.
I then realized that there is a method to consistency, to marketing, outside just creating the music. And as an independent artist, that's something that I've also had to focus on as
Yeah.
part of the journey of creating music, especially who you're going to tailor the marketing to.
Mm.
And if I could tell this story, every day in my house, I'll hear all the jazz songs. I'll hear my parents' songs. I'll hear the famous artists that'll come. But when I'm with my friends or when I go to parties, when I go to radio, I hear a different set of songs.
Mm.
And they were not live. So early on, my subconscious was like, okay, computer music, as they call it then, is the way to go because, or maybe no one was pushing live music
Mm.
at the commercial level. So that made me think that okay, maybe live is not live is good for credibility, like eating your vegetables, like exercising. You can do that,
Yeah.
but but pop or that sound, radio sound, which is the rest of the world, which is
Mm.
everybody outside who
The
comes to a live
TikTok
music
vibes.
venue.
Mm.
Yeah, is what talks about or knows. And what's the point of doing music if they don't know it? So that was an idea behind that.
Okay, so you've definitely come at it from a different point of view. The album that you said was your first proud one, and it obviously had
Yes.
that initial independent artist emotional roller coaster. I call it Bridezilla. We go through this moment of like, I'm gonna be famous. Get that Grammy Award ready for me. When you're releasing your first track, right? What was it just called Baba or was it called something else just so that we can reference it?
So it was called Down for Whatever, which is the name of my
Ah,
label.
yep. Okay.
And so the artist was Baba. The album was called Down for Whatever. And I
Okay.
really wasn't after a Grammy or being famous at the time, but I don't know why I thought that automatically I could make a living off it. And that
Oh
way
yeah.
income streams would come. I could be on the road performing or be
Yeah.
able to sell or license it so I can focus on doing more of that. And that didn't happen. I remember loading up on SoundCloud at the time and getting a few nice comments,
Yeah.
but that was it. And I don't know why I thought then that it would automatically just
It's a
transform into something.
sobering exercise. And it's something that it's like a rite of passage. Everyone has to go through it. Even if you don't expect world fame, you kind of I think we idolize people who have done it. We idolize our Michael Jacksons, and if we put ourselves where they were, say if they're on Spotify, we're going to put ourselves on Spotify.
Yeah,
We expect, yeah, because we don't see regular people don't see the amount of work that goes into the marketing and
yeah.
promotion of music, and that's a big journey. What has been your biggest aha moments as an independent artist for, okay, yes, I can just make good music, but it's so much more than that. And what's been your process or your biggest things that lessons that you learned as an independent artist of what to do with your music and get yourself out there?
So as an artist, and I must say this as well, even though I didn't get the recognition or the fame I was looking for then, I felt it was successful because there was also a personal journey of being able to conquer that fear of being able to put yourself out there.
Mm,
And with every album or song I put out since, I wanted to get better at that. I only
mm,
picked up the saxophone 5 years ago. I
yeah.
learned keyboards as a kid with because my parents and guitar because they suggested doing that, but I dropped it as soon as I got a chance to.
Okay.
And then I realized that I can write music. I'm writing and recording other people's music. If it's not popular songs, I'm getting producers to make songs for me. And
Mm,
sometimes they'll say, "This is the beat I made. This is my vibe to it." And I'll challenge myself and do that.
yeah.
But I'm like, okay, if I wanted my own vibe and I cannot articulate it at 2 in the morning to someone who's not there to do it, or might take weeks because they're working on something else,
Yeah.
how do I get to that? So success for me is I feel I've been very successful. I'm the most successful now because I know how to create the music that I want.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm
such a big
five.
journey.
It is
Mm,
on its own. The survival factor is there, but in terms of being true to myself as an artist and articulating and creating everything I want, I'm
yeah.
better at that. Yeah.
Awesome. And what would you say is the biggest advice if you were to say speak to yourself back in 2005 with all the wisdom and knowledge you have now with what you've done so far? Is there something that you would tell yourself, be like, hey, don't forget this?
Yes, stay true to yourself. I think I didn't finish the thought with that, with the last question. Stay true to yourself. It's funny, not too long ago, I did something called Five Things I Wish I Knew Before I Started Doing Music.
Oh, I
And
like this.
focus is very important. Belief in self, it all stops and starts with you, the artist, no matter what level you get to. If you don't have that belief, some people will project out, some people will not believe in you. So focus on yourself. The second thing was focus on people you have around you to create and build the music and the vision you have.
Yeah.
Focus on being consistent was the third thing, because with consistency, you get better. Lil Wayne is one of my favorite rappers. He said recently, or I found out recently, he said, they say assumption is the mother of all F-ups, but the father, repetition is the father of all learning.
Yeah.
So when you repeat, it could be one time, a million times. It's like rehearsing for a show.
Yeah.
If you repeat, you get better. And
Yeah.
when you get better results. So
Yep.
you just have to keep going. So I would say focus. And because in everything I mentioned in that video I did about five things I wish I was told, focus was always part of it. So I would express or encourage any artist independently to focus on what you want and stick to that goal. It's okay if it changes. You calibrate in the field, as I say, because of my
Yeah.
engineering background, things might change.
Yeah.
If you have to change it, just remember what your initial goal was and keep checking or tapping back into who you are,
Mm.
what you want, why you're doing this, your why, and just focus on getting it done because that's the only way I've seen personally growth in
Yep.
myself as an artist. Yeah.
I love that. And I think I would reiterate the knowing what your why is, which you just skipped over. But if you don't
Mm.
have a why, then you'll follow anyone else's why. And I do think you've got to be able to not just be able to do a check in and go, everything I'm doing, is this aligned with my why? And it's for
Yes.
me, it's such a helpful yes or no. And that way it helps me make decisions because I am so indecisive. I don't know about you. But once I was able to work out what my true why is and what I'm doing, it made deciding to do certain things so much easier. It doesn't mean I don't make bad decisions, but
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
they're still learning and we've got to just keep going on. Okay, so tell me about what you're doing now. What is the next big thing? What's your focus?
Ooh. Ooh. So I put out an album called Afroverse, which is a living universe of Afrobeat. I put that out just about a year ago. And it's meant to introduce Afrobeats gaining traction outside West Africa. It's becoming a local, global genre. It
Hmm.
was the leading song of the last World Cup this summer.
Yes.
And so and I'm thankful to come from a family that created the genre or started it in the first place. Even though my parents were Afro jazz musicians, my uncle Fela Kuti started the genre Afrobeat.
Yeah.
But before him, two generations before that is a guy called J.J. Ransom Kuti, who was the first African Nigerian to put out an album in 1925. I say all
Wow.
that to say, now I'm going on the road. I'm creating a residency or a local series of live performances where I live called Afroverse Live, the
Okay.
journey of Afrobeat from its inception to the legacy of my family to the current sound of what people know and hear now in the
Wow.
public space to the future with my sound because I'm combining both.
That's
So
so
it's a
cool.
combination of legacy that also helps with the why and the purpose. It's legacy for me, but also continuing the journey. So that's the next big thing for me now. My first show will be next Sunday, actually, not this Sunday,
Yeah.
but the following Sunday. And with that, I take Afrobeat and I fuse it. So in the
Yeah.
album Afroverse, I work with people from Latin America.
Yeah.
I'm working with people from India and Asia. So fusing that with Afrobeat. So I'm enjoying almost taking the roots of it and taking it around the world and showing the world that you can be part of this Afrobeat journey too. If you
Yeah.
don't know how to, we can work on it together because I know how to create and massage the music and then we can collaborate and make it happen from there. So the
That's so
Afroverse
cool.
series is a live residency every month, new music
Yeah.
for as long as I can, at least for the next year. And I
Yeah.
bring somebody new from a different part of the world. This
Amazing.
first song will be from a guy from Mexico called Roger Velasquez, who I
Uh-huh.
think you met. He was at the thing last week as
Oh,
well.
okay. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so he was there. It's a fusion of Afrobeat and merengue.
Yeah.
There's a bit of there's a big overlap between Afrobeat and Latin music. So
Okay.
merengue, guaguancó, which is really more reggae, Tejano, in the sense of the dating of the genre. But I'm trying to make it more updated with Afrobeat. So we take old
Yeah.
school sounds with Afrobeat, and then I'm working with Roger. So that'll be the first artist. And then I have Ricky Kedge, three-time Grammy
Oh,
winner on
yeah, yeah,
song as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
Amazing.
So
It was his
yeah. So
birthday
anyway, going
yesterday.
around
Happy
the world.
birthday, Reggie.
I know. I sent a
Yeah,
message.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's very
Yeah.
popular. I love the historical. I'm a big history buff. I love museums. I love Europe and going to places where it's got extended history that's been preserved and learning about original cultures and things like that and traditions. And the idea of a show also not just being awesome new original music, which I always love original music, but the idea of being able to go to a show and actually learn something about history, learn about a genre, be educated on historical stuff along with live music. Like I would be your target audience. That sounds amazing. And I've actually never heard of anyone doing that. So well done for, yeah, the ingenuity of that. Sounds fantastic. And I love storytelling, obviously. And that I hope it's really successful for you. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. And I know that you put in
Yes.
110% into everything that you do. And I've loved what I've heard and seen of your stuff since we spoke in the hotel lobby at midnight, I think it was. It's been I've been able to do a deep dive and it's been really educational for me because it's not a genre that I know a lot about, but it is really culturally rich and beautiful. And I wish you all the best. We're going to put all of your links and music and everything in the description of the podcast, and it'll be on the website along with the blog, songwritertrysts.com. But is there anything else that is coming up that you want people to know about? We'll put the shows in there, new music, or what do you want people to know?
Would like people to know thank you, first of all, for giving me the opportunity. What else would I like people to know? Over the next 12 months or more, it's like my own offering. I'm putting the world on a salary, a new song every month,
Mm,
which leads to my next album, Afroverse 2 Global Cycle. So that
cool.
will be around this time next year. So it's thought out to be almost like the Godfather series. I'm a big mafia guy, I like all that gangster.
Yeah, me
So this
too.
will be part two. The beginning was
Uh-huh.
I did take some of my culture, some of my folk praise poetry from the village. I had to go to my village, which is different from the city where I lived in Lagos. I had to go like not into the bushes or jungle, but pretty close to go to find people who could speak the local dialect of my ancestors that
Wow.
has been watered down.
Yeah.
And that was part of Afroverse. So that was the origination. Afroverse 2, Global Cycle, is getting the world into Afrobeat. And there'll be a third installment at some point, but look out for that.
Yeah.
And along with that will be live performances every month to present the music with wonderful, beautiful souls around the world who are
Mhm.
also on their journey with music as well, who are happy to collaborate with me in Afrobeat. So that's what to look out for.
And where's the live performances happening?
It's in Frisco, Texas, not far from where I live. I live in Frisco, Texas. It's
Okay.
in Dallas. I wanted to make it communal. So I went to a local, I won't say a pub, but it's a local bar. Sits about 300 people. I'm also getting some local acts, local to Dallas, who are in Afrobeat to give them a chance to support, to give them a platform to do their music
Create
as
some
well. So they will
community.
start off, and
Yeah.
then Roger, like a Grammy winner, will come and do his. Ricky, if he's available, come does his as well. So
Awesome.
it's that journey of not just giving back to the community, but also presenting the music with global fusion, global people. So
That's
it's in
awesome.
Frisco, Texas. It's a place called Retro Street Bar. If you happen to be in town next time, you can come check it out.
I can't
Um,
wait. I want to.
so that's where
Awesome.
it'll be.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to share your story and continue to cheer you on as you make all this new community of music and education. I love it. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. And thanks for having me on the show. You do a wonderful thing for independent artists. I've gone through some of your previous podcasts. I
Mm,
love that you give a light to shine for those who want to tell their story in storytelling and or songwriting. And because
mm.
you are a kindred spirit, you get it. So,
Yeah.
if you ask the right questions. So thank you.
Look, these are conversations that I would have with someone in the middle of a lobby at the in the middle of the night because I'm
Two
so
years in a
passionate
row. We
about
did
it.
it last year as
Yeah.
well. I
I
don't know
know.
why.
Yeah, I've always been curious, and I think when I first started the podcast in 2020, I was looking for opportunities to continue to learn myself from other people who are doing what I want to be doing. And at 2020, everyone was podcasting, but no one was podcasting about songwriting. Everyone does songwriting podcasts now, but it's been really beautiful to be able to connect in with songwriters from all over the world from my office in Australia.
Yeah.
And I am so disconnected physically from the rest of the world, but through this podcast, I've been able to meet people like yourself and Kit and Marcus and travel all over the world and not just share my music into the rest of the world, but create relationships where I've been able to collaborate and create with the rest of the world. And that's been such a blessing that I think God orchestrated because I did not realize the power and impact that it would have to just have a conversation with people. And it's been a real blessing.
Mhm,
So I hope it
mhm,
blesses
mhm.
you. And we are here to support all songwriters 100% however we can. So whenever you've got new stuff out, please send it to us and we'll do whatever we can to promote and share and lift you up.
I definitely appreciate that. For whatever reason, one of my songs called Soft Life is my biggest audience comes from Australia.
Oh,
And this is
really?
before I met you. So I love
Oh,
that there is
so it's
some
not just me.
indication of some, interest there.
Yeah.
It's not just you.
See, we'll
But
have to
yes,
get
I
you over
definitely
for a
will share
show.
that with you.
Yeah, I
Excellent.
have
I'll
heard that
hold
one though.
you
I
to
listened to it a
that.
couple of times, and it's a good one. I do like that one actually. I was listening to that.
Mhm,
I said I was at the gym after I saw you. I couldn't sleep, and I ended up going to the gym at like 4 a.m. and listening to your entire album. So a couple of
mhm.
times actually because it was on repeat. But that one stood out, and I like that one. All right, everyone, go listen to Soft Life and Baba Kuboye is. I'm gonna have to do
Yes,
it with the
Ray.
sand with the hand signal, but listen to it and yeah, absolutely wishing you all the best.